The movie begins at the Brussels airport. A man named Terenzio rushes inside. He looks terrified, sweating, nervous, and desperate. At first, you'd think he is just running late for a flight. But no, the truth is far more terrifying. He runs to the help desk and begs for any ticket going west. The clerk tells him the next flight west is only after 2 hours. That's too late, but Terenzio still buys the ticket anyway because he only needs access to the terminal. Meanwhile, in the same airport, a famous influencer named Ines is video chatting with her friend in New York. Suddenly, while she's on the call, the friend chokes, collapses, and goes unconscious. Ines panics, helpless on the other side of the screen. But this is not an isolated incident. On TV screens in the airport, people notice live news reporters collapsing mid-broadcast. Entire streets of people are lying unconscious on the ground. Many think it's some kind of prank or viral hoax. But not Terenzio. He knows the horrible truth, and it's time to act. He rushes to the boarding gates. When a guard looks away, Terenzio steals his gun and storms toward a plane preparing for takeoff. The flight is headed for Moscow. Only a few passengers are on board when Terenzio bursts in and threatens everyone at gunpoint. Inside the cockpit, the co-pilot Matthew refuses to cooperate with him. They fight, and during the struggle, a bullet hits Matthew's hand, badly injuring it. Outside, the passengers panic, but the brave flight attendant Gabrielle tries her best to calm them down. Terenzio storms out of the cockpit, yelling if there is any other pilot on board. That's when a woman named Sylvie steps forward. She isn't a real airline pilot. She's a retired helicopter pilot. Still, under threat, she joins Matthew, and together they somehow manage to take off with all the passengers on board. But now they have a huge problem. The bullet damaged part of the avionics, so the plane can't contact anyone outside. They are alone. Once in the air, Matthew and Sylvie try to reason with Terenzio. Who is he? Why is he doing this? Terenzio finally reveals the terrifying truth. He claims he works for NATO and overheard top officials talking about a disaster. The sun itself has turned deadly. The sunrise now kills anyone it touches, even people hiding indoors. He explains that countries in the east like Japan and Korea are already gone. Millions dead in minutes. The sun is moving west, and unless they keep flying away, they'll all die too. The passengers don't believe him. Even Matthew and Sylvie think he's insane. But Terenzio insists, "I may look like a fool, but I'm not wrong." Matthew's bleeding hand becomes a serious issue. Luckily, one passenger named Laura, a home nurse caring for an elderly man with dementia, steps up. She's the only medical professional on board. They have no proper tools, so she uses a heated knife to seal his wound. Matthew screams in agony while the other passengers panic even more. Trying to calm them, Matthew lies and says they'll land at a safe location first, and then continue to Moscow. Deep down, he's hoping fighter jets will come rescue them. But Sylvie feels something strange, like they're truly on their own. Among the passengers, a man named Ayaz grows suspicious after overhearing the discussion about the sun. Before long, another passenger, an Arab man, suddenly collapses, coughing violently. Ayaz pretends to help him, but instead uses the distraction to grab Terenzio's gun. The passengers lock Terenzio in the toilet. Now, with control, Matthew finally tells them the truth. They're heading to Iceland because that was the closest safe place going west. There, the authorities will arrest Terenzio and free the passengers. He also admits what Terenzio said about the sun. At first, everyone thinks it's madness. But then, they start remembering strange events before the flight. Family members collapsing, chaotic news reports, and a sense of dread spreads through the cabin. As they descend toward Iceland, they get no response from air traffic control. When they look out the windows, they see the horrifying reality. Airplanes have already crashed into each other on the runway. People on the ground are running in chaos. That's when they finally understand. Terenzio was telling the truth. But the runway is blocked with wreckage, and they don't have enough fuel to circle back. Their only option is to push west again toward Scotland. They bring Terenzio out of the toilet and demand answers. He admits he doesn't know why this is happening, only that he overheard military officers saying the sunrise kills. All he knows is, if you want to survive, you must keep flying away from the sun. Meanwhile, the Arab passenger who fainted earlier is dying. With his final breaths, he reveals he swallowed diamonds to smuggle them. Laura tries to save him, but he dies during turbulence as the plane attempts an emergency landing. They barely land in Scotland, stopping the plane just seconds before crashing into a wall. When they get out, their phones start buzzing with endless notifications. News articles confirm the apocalypse. Half of the world is already dead. The other half is waiting helplessly, hoping for shelter in bunkers. But reports say even bunkers aren't safe. The deadly rays are unstoppable. The airport is nearly deserted. Survivors have either fled or are hiding in the dark. Then, 3 RAF servicemen approach the passengers, begging for help. The group realizes they only have 45 minutes until sunrise. Together, they collect supplies and refuel the plane. One serviceman is a pilot and suggests flying further away from the equator, where the sun will take longer to reach them. Their next planned stop, Canada. There, they can refuel again and maybe fix their radio. One passenger, Yakub, an aircraft engineer, is torn. He desperately wants to go back for his pregnant wife. But the group knows they can't risk it. The safety of everyone on board must come first. Heartbroken, Yakub steps aside. They take off again. Soon, the internet comes back briefly. Phones fill with last messages from loved ones in Brussels. But tragically, those loved ones are already dead. Then, a chilling discovery is made. A passenger finds an article suggesting the cause of the disaster, the sun's polarity. Another passenger, Horst, who is a climate specialist, explains his theory. Normally, every 11 years, the sun's magnetic field reverses. Usually, it's harmless. But over the last decades, those reversals had grown weaker. And now, this time, the reversal came back with extreme power in the other direction. According to Horst, the sun is now blasting Earth with gamma rays. That's why everyone dies instantly when sunlight touches them. But there is no way to confirm this, because all the scientists who might have explained it are already dead. While this horrifying truth is sinking in, Ayaz stumbles upon even worse news. A report reveals that the 3 RAF servicemen who joined their flight are not heroes at all. They are actually terrorists from Afghanistan, who had been arrested earlier and were about to be deported. Outside the plane, one of these men gets into an argument and violently pushes the elderly man with dementia. The poor man dies on the spot, leaving the other passengers furious. Sylvie quietly tells Matthew the truth about who these men are. They secretly decide that once they reach Canada, they will abandon the terrorists. The plane manages to land in Canada, with only 2 hours before sunrise. The city is full of corpses, victims of the deadly sunlight. The terrorists pretend to help, saying they will look for radio repair parts. But they insist on taking Gabriel and Yakub with them. Yakub knows about the plan to abandon them, but Gabriel doesn't. Inside a shop, Yakub locks the terrorists inside a room, trying to escape. But Gabriel refuses to follow him, confused and angry. He doesn't waste time explaining. He runs back toward the airport. Gabrielle is left behind. Tragically, the plane takes off without her. As they leave, the terrorists chase the plane and shoot at it. A bullet hits a window, leaving a dangerous crack. If they fly too high, the pressure could break it completely. Among the passengers is a very sick boy named Dominic. He has a breathing tube. Ayaz tries to comfort him, but Dominic's protective mother, Zara, tells him to stay away. Just then, they receive a faint radio signal from someone in Hawaii. The message is short, but the survivors guess that people might still be alive in an underwater bunker. Matthew immediately wants to fly to Hawaii, but Sylvie argues it's too dangerous to risk everything based on a broken signal. Tension rises. Terenzio complains that Matthew is making all the decisions. The group agrees to settle future choices by voting. Suddenly, loud alarms go off. The plane has a serious malfunction. They soon realize why. One of the terrorists who chased them in Canada has clung to the landing gear of the plane. If he stays there, they can't land safely. Matthew makes a risky decision. He climbs the plane to the highest altitude possible, hoping the freezing air and lack of oxygen will kill the man. But he forgets about the cracked window. The pressure difference causes it to shatter violently. Chaos erupts inside the plane. Papers, bags, and objects are sucked into the air. Passengers hold on for their lives. Matthew quickly drops the plane to a lower altitude. Meanwhile, Yakub uses a wooden board to cover the broken window temporarily. The crisis calms, but Dominic is now in danger. His breathing tube was sucked out during the chaos. Ayaz cleverly makes a new one using an oxygen pipe. Zara, ashamed of how she treated him earlier, thanks him. Matthew then admits, Hawaii is impossible. The plane can't handle the distance at this altitude. Their only real option is Attu, a remote island in Alaska. But the terrorist is still alive, clinging to the undercarriage. Ayaz, Yakub, and Terenzio crawl into the lower deck and make a hole in the floor to see him. Terenzio points his gun, but the terrorist grabs it and nearly kills him. At the last moment, Ayaz shoots and kills the terrorist. For a while, he becomes the hero of the group, but then the truth comes out. Some passengers reveal that they saw Ayaz cut open the Arab man's stomach back in Canada. Horrified, they demand an explanation. Ayaz confesses he's a con artist. The Arab passenger had agreed to smuggle diamonds inside his body, but he panicked and died. Ayaz tried to cut the diamonds out. The passengers are divided. Some want to abandon him, like the terrorists. But when they vote, Ayaz is spared. Still, they don't trust him, so they handcuff him inside the avionics bay. The group lands in Alaska, refuels, and takes off again. But a new nightmare begins. Horst, the climatologist, eats some fruits they picked up in Canada. He notices something terrifying. The fruits have no taste. He realizes the gamma rays are changing the atomic structure of food. That means the nutritional value is disappearing. If this continues, they could all starve within weeks. Matthew, already exhausted and mentally breaking down, says the food problem doesn't matter. For now, survival means only one thing: keep running from Sun. But his temper is unstable. When Sylvie asks him to rest, he snaps at her, yelling, something very unlike his usual calm self. The passengers force him to take a break. Although angry, Matthew finally agrees and goes to sleep. Not long after, they pick up another faint radio signal. Two people are speaking in Russian. The group only catches one word, Stara 17. They soon realize the shocking truth. The person on the other end is a cosmonaut, speaking from space. They are shocked that someone like that is still alive, but this also means he is talking to a control room on Earth. This gives the passengers a new hope for survival. They decide their next destination will be NATO headquarters in Brussels, the place where everything first began. If they land in Brussels, they will have only 4 hours before the sun rises. With Terenzio's help, maybe they can find information about the secret bunker hidden in the headquarters. But then, Laura discovers Matthew unconscious in the toilet. His palm wound is badly infected, causing blood poisoning. That explains why he had been acting strangely earlier. To save him, they must cut away the infected tissue. Laura says she can do the operation in a hospital if they make it in time. The problem? Without Matthew, Sylvie doesn't know how to land a plane. The others beg her because she is the closest thing they have to a pilot. She admits she only knows how to land a helicopter. But Horst warns her, if she doesn't try, they will all die. So, Sylvie is forced to watch quick tutorial videos on how to land an aircraft. When the time comes, she panics. The plane is hit by violent turbulence, and passengers prepare for a deadly crash. But against all odds, Sylvie manages a rough landing. The plane survives. The passengers cheer for her. A moment of victory in the middle of terror. But there is no time to waste. The group splits into 3 teams. 2 men stay behind to refuel the plane. Laura, Zara, and others rush Matthew to a nearby hospital. Meanwhile, Terenzio, Ayaz, and Rick head to NATO headquarters. At the hospital, they see countless dead bodies in the halls. People who try to survive before sunrise, but failed. Laura keeps everyone focused on saving Matthew, while Zara secretly fills her bags with medicines for her son and the others. At NATO headquarters, Terenzio shows the room where he first heard of the disaster. They don't have enough time to search through all the papers, so Rick checks the surveillance footage. While Rick is away, Terenzio insults Ayaz for being Turkish. A fight breaks out, and Ayaz is knocked out, bleeding heavily. Meanwhile, Rick finds something shocking. A recording where officials talk about a bunker hidden under a dam in Bulgaria. The name is Stara 17. The same phrase they heard on the radio earlier. Before Rick can return, Terenzio lies, saying Ayaz has already left. On the surveillance screen, Rick sees Ayaz lying in a pool of blood, but fear keeps him silent. With only half an hour before sunrise, the group rushes back to the plane. Matthew, though weak from surgery, is still alive. Terenzio tells the passengers that Ayaz abandoned them, and they can't wait any longer. The plane engines roar to life when suddenly a car blocks their path. Ayaz steps out alive. Soon after, Terenzio is handcuffed in the avionics bay as punishment. Sylvie warns everyone, if the Bulgaria plan fails, they won't have fuel or time to try again. Once they land, they will have only 20 minutes to reach the bunker. But trouble strikes again. Inside the toilet, Ayaz suffers a seizure from blood loss. He hides it from the others. When asked about Terenzio's fate, he refuses to sentence him to death and allows him to come along to the bunker. The plane finally lands in Bulgaria. The group splits into 2 cars. Sylvie drives the first, Ayaz drives the second. On the road, Ayaz suffers another seizure. His car crashes. Sylvie's group is far ahead and cannot wait. At a crossroads, Sylvie's team turns right. They reach a half-open electric gate. When a passenger touches it, they are blasted backward by electricity. The gate can only stay open if someone holds the button. To redeem himself, Terenzio volunteers. Sylvie handcuffs him there, so he can't escape or betray them. He promises to wait for the others. Meanwhile, Ayaz's group takes the left road and finds another entrance. They climb over it using their clothes. In the end, both groups manage to reach the same bunker entrance, though they came from different sides. Military guards open the doors and welcome them inside, finally safe. But outside, Terenzio is left alone. He prays for forgiveness. As the deadly sun rises, he stares directly at it and whispers, "Do your best." Moments later, the sunlight burns him alive. The survivors have finally reached the bunker, but their journey is far from over. Folded Hands, thank you so much for watching this story breakdown. If you enjoyed this dangerous and suspense-filled journey, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more thrilling story recaps.